Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Jack Smith, coming to you guys today with my first solo episode ever. We're switching off each week for the power rankings, landed on my week right here. After week 3, a lot of disappointments from week 3. Not a whole lot of, good performances from teams and a lot of just disappointing performances, from other teams. But before we kind of get into it, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment with your power rankings right here and leave a like on the video. It really goes a long way and shows us your support, and we love it. We really appreciate you guys. Road to 300 subscribers, recently at 400 on Instagram, so road to 500 there. But, to start it off, I know a lot of people around me, because we're from the Bay Area, be upset. I don't have the Niners in the top 10. I have them right there at 10A. You'll see who my number 10 team is, but my thought process with the Niners is they've beaten the two worst teams in football. They've beaten the New York Jets and they've beaten the New York Giants. Yes, they won handily in both games, but those are the two worst teams in football so far this season. And both teams are, riddled with a lot of injuries. So, yes, they've played well in two games. Yes, they've been injured too, but they've also played two teams that are very injured. And they've played two teams that just aren't good in general. So I have them at 10A. And the reason that I have the Buccaneers as my number 10 team from Tampa Bay is I think they're on the same exact plane as the Niners, except they've played a little bit better teams and they're less injured. And for me, power rankings are momentum. And I believe that the Buccaneers, because they have less injuries and because they played a little bit better teams, have a little bit more momentum to me right now than the Niners do. Both teams are relatively kind of the same. My preseason predictions, I'd say the Niners were even better in my preseason predictions, but the Niners are more injured. They've played worse teams. The Niners are 10A, and the Buccaneers are my 10th team in the power rankings. I'm not going to kind of recap each team's game from last week. If you want to see that, go look at our winners and losers segment. I'll link it right here. But going into our number 9 team is a team that lost, but they played very well, and they show that they have the ability to come back. Weren't completely able to complete it, but this was a win, if not for one penalty. Is number 9, the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams impressed me in their first 2 games. Wasn't high on them going into the year, but they've proven me wrong a little bit. And then this last week, they came back against the Buffalo Bills. They were down 28-3 and really came back to win that game, except for one brutal pass interference call, I believe, on a 4th down. Really cost them the game. Some fans aren't happy about the call. Some people believe that it wasn't pass interference at all. But, it got called. I'm still not going to be upset with the Rams on this performance. They did not play well at the end of the game. The Bills were really having their way with them, but they ended up coming back. And really, it was a win except for that one call. So I'm not bumping them in the power rankings. I still have them at number 9. But the team right above them, number 8, the New England Patriots, have played 2 great games in a row. And they had a week kind of like the Rams last week against the Seahawks. The Patriots lost that game, but I was still more impressed with them than some teams that won. I believe that they proved that they can hang with the big contenders in the league. They can hang with a good offense, and they can still hang with a team with a pretty good defense and some star players. So Cam Newton has been playing well up to this point, and, this week really wasn't his exact week, week 3 at least, but they ran the ball for 200 and something yards against the Raiders. So they've shown that even when Cam doesn't have all the production, they as a team can get it done, kind of like somehow how the Baltimore Ravens do it. So that versatility, that showed me a lot. And so 2 weeks ago against the Seahawks, they lost and showed me a lot. This week, they beat the Raiders and showed me a lot. So I've got them at number 8 in my power rankings. But a big riser in my power rankings for the entire year so far has been the Steelers, and they come in at number 7 this week after week 3. The Steelers I was not super high on. I wasn't sure what kind of Big Ben we were going to get, but, they've come out and they've proved it. And they were down against the Texans, a team that, we weren't completely sure what they were because they played the 2 best teams in football. And the Steelers came back against the Texans. The Steelers came back and ended up winning the game. I'm a little bit concerned about Deontay Johnson. I know he was injured, but he also, in the game only had 2 targets and 0 catches. So I need to see Juju step up a little bit more. Hopefully Chase Claypool as a rookie can step up. But this team's been stepping up all year. They've been proving me wrong, at least so far. It wasn't exactly that I was down on the Steelers. I didn't know how to predict them, and I didn't want to predict them too high because we really weren't sure what we were going to get from this team. We weren't sure what we get from the running back position, what the wide receiver core would look like, if it would work. We knew this defense was legit, but we didn't know what we would get from Big Ben. But Mike Tomlin has coached this team well. The roster pieces have stepped up, and Big Ben has come back strong. He hasn't been, the greatest quarterback in the league, but he's come back and he's won 3 games, which is a pretty big feat for him. And so the Steelers come in at number 7 on my power rankings. Number 6 is going to be the Tennessee Titans, a team that I was very high on preseason, who haven't really fallen or risen for me in the power rankings, but they have won 3 close games. And The one problem I have with that is I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it up throughout the year. But like Anish mentioned in our last episode, and I agree with, the Seahawks were able to do that last year. They won a lot of close games. And I think that the Titans play a style of football that matches that style of close games, because they're able to run the ball on you and they're able to pass it in key situations. And they're able to take a lot of time off the clock, and they're able to come back at the end of the games and put that finishing touch on a win. As you saw by the Stephen Gostkowski made field goal this week, he had an amazing game, 6 of 6, including the game winner. Not as the time expired, but put them ahead, and they solidified that win with their defense. But after a terrible week 1, he ended up hitting that last kick in week 1, and he's been solid since then, including a great game in week 3. But I think the Titans are here to stay. I said the whole time they were AFC contenders. I believed they were the 4th best team in the AFC. But the 3rd best team in the AFC is, I'm sticking with that, the Bills at number 5. I'm going to put the Bills at 5 and the Ravens at 4. I'll talk about them both at the same time, because I contemplated putting the Bills over the Ravens after that win against the Rams and the Ravens losing to the Chiefs. But I decided to keep the Ravens above the Bills. But to speak on the Bills at number 5, Josh Allen has been proving everyone wrong this year. He proved me wrong too. I think Josh Allen had it in him. I always knew he had the potential, but I just wasn't seeing it in an accuracy department. And to see his footwork and his mechanics worked on that well, and it's showing up. And he's been able to throw for 300 plus yards, I believe, in each game. And he really dominated in the Rams game, put the team on his back and won it at the end. Obviously, we talked about the pass interference call, but no matter what, Josh Allen played great. And this Bills team, I've been saying for a while, is great. And they need to be trusted, and they need to be seen as the 3rd best team in the AFC. I think that the Ravens and the Chiefs are tier 1, and then 1A right there is the Bills. And really, they've been proving me right all year. The Bills, yes, they played 2 bad teams to start the year, but that was a good win against a good Rams squad. And for a Bills team that has, always had a good defense over the last couple of years, it's good to see their offense step up like this. But to move on to the Ravens, they drop from number 1. I had them number 1 in the power rankings to now they're number 4. It was a tough loss, but it's also against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. No one really knew exactly what was going to happen in this game. There was, both teams were playing like the best team in football, but the Ravens ended up getting, the lower end of the stick. And Patrick Mahomes outdueled Lamar Jackson again. Lamar did not have a good game, but that's okay. I mean, quarterbacks sometimes don't have great games, and so you can't criticize them just off one game. Mahomes played better this game. I'm sure Lamar will bounce back over the years, so don't overreact too much on that. I've seen a lot of people, writing off Lamar, saying, oh, maybe he's a top 5 QB. Now, he's still a top 5 QB. He had one bad game. Don't overreact to it. This Ravens squad is still good, but it's just shown they're not going to be able to compete with the Chiefs, I don't think. I mean, this is now Lamar's 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes. And so the Ravens are coming in at number 4 in my power rankings. I thought about putting the Bills above, but I don't want to overreact too much since just a week ago I thought this was the best team of football. I still think they have the best roster, but I just want to see them be able to put it together. I think that they still have a better roster than the Chiefs. And I still think they're a better overall team than the Chiefs. But the problem is the Chiefs came in with a better game plan and they executed better. Simple as that. But, a couple catches go their way. Mark Andrews holds on to a couple passes. I mean, this game is completely flipped. So I think the Ravens are still a great team, still among the top in the league. They just need to come in with a better game plan and execute better to beat some of these best teams in the league. And now, previously the second spot, the first 2 spots had been held by AFC teams. And now I've got 2 NFC teams in a row. We'll get to the second one later. But I have the third team I've been high on for a while is the Seahawks, coming at number 3 in my power rankings. This was hard. I really wanted to put them at 2, but I stuck them at 3. You'll see where I go with the next ones. But Seahawks at 3, they've been playing insane all year. That offense has just been ridiculous. But one thing is their defense has not been as impressive as, we thought it would be. Jamal Adams had a great game week 1, but this defense still isn't playing like the elite defense some pegged it as over the offseason after that Jamal Adams trade. And now he's gone down with a minor injury. So we'll see what kind of happens to the Seahawks defense. They're not elite, but this offense is the most elite in the NFL so far this year. Russell Wilson has been on an absolute tear, just like I thought he would be. And so the Seahawks team is looking really good, but they looked a little bit beatable against the Cowboys, which is why I have them at 3. One team that did not look beatable throughout their first 3 games really is the Packers. The Packers are coming in at number 2 in my power rankings. I did not overreact to the 13-3 record the Packers had last year. I thought that they looked like a mediocre team with an inflated record. But they're coming out this year to prove me wrong and to prove a lot of people wrong. And I think so is Aaron Rodgers. drafting Jordan Love lit a fire under Aaron Rodgers, obviously, and he's been playing out of his mind. And they ended up beating the Saints, who obviously got bounced out of my top 10. I had them as one of the best teams in the NFL, and they're still my Super Bowl prediction. But the Packers are showing that maybe they are the favorites in the NFC. Packers and the Seahawks showing that maybe they're the favorites in the NFC. So they bumped the Saints out of the top 10, and they moved themselves up to number 2. Number 1, it's obvious. After that dominant Monday Night Football performance, the Chiefs got to be at number 1. Patrick Mahomes played out of his mind. Andy Reid coached out of his mind. So many creative play calls, so many offensive minds on that team, both Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. They dominated the Ravens execution-wise and game plan-wise. I think that they're very similar teams, but the Chiefs just won based off the way they executed their game plan. That's what I saw. They were able to shut down the run, and then they were able to shut down the pass too. I mean, Lamar did not have a good passing game at all. And the Chiefs, who over the past couple of years have had a subpar defense, they stepped it up. I mean, simple as that. They game planned very well. And the Ravens looked like a formidable cornerback duo and secondary, and the Chiefs lit it up. So the Chiefs came in with a plan and they executed it, which is why they're number 1 in my power rankings. So let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. What are your guys' top 10, top 5? Who's at number 1 in your power rankings? For me, it's the Chiefs. For you, maybe any other team. Who's the biggest riser and faller for you guys? But also, we had a giveaway on our Instagram a couple weeks ago. Here are the winners. We're going to shout them out in every episode. So just go follow them at their handles and tell them Cold Hard Truth sent you. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't mind, subscribe to our channel. We know a lot of you viewers aren't subscribed. So if you could subscribe, it would mean a lot to us. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. And check out our Instagram, website, and Twitter down in our description. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Jack Smith. See ya.